gathered their thoughts, their feelings, and maybe some items, and made some decisions or some indecisions about what to do next. Definitely set on leaving the city, and with a resigned feeling that getting Dante the ability to help people without damaging them seeming a pressing matter, that might be the place to go first. You kind of split up a bit, if I'm not. Did you split up last week?
Very much so. I think we had I think we had all just met back up. I think
just got back together.
Yeah, you had. And then I think we ended last week because you were just sort of discussing what you'd seen. I think some of you had discovered some things over the day, and what you had collected and got together. Not to forget, however, Eleni's encounter. So yes, coming back in, I think that you're all sort of gathered round in the temple room. I imagine that you are still using the magical circly protected room because it means no one can just teleport in, even if they were to detect you.
Yeah, I did also ask for them to get prepared another magic circle so that we could try giving Dante his sword to him and seeing what happens.
Yeah, and they are in the midst of that, but obviously, as Ichi left them, as you guys get back, there is a lot more people here. You can see that the area that was designated for like praying and pews and like the altar and that sort of ceremonious room, all that's been cleared, and those with the least levels of infection are sort of being held there. They're being inspected and they're being carefully monitored. You can see that there's 7 or 8 priests in the room just sort of watching and checking on people, but also just sort of checking conditions. And further through where the magically protected room, there is a drum of noise, but obviously out of sight. Are you planning to just sort of shift straight to your rooms to discuss things, or
what time of day is it? Sorry,
it's not late in the day. It's maybe 2, 3 o'clock.
What I might do, so just I probably would have done it just at some point whilst walking and things, because I can't remember if I did this before. I'll ask Foley for his sheet that he wrote out for the library. Did I do that before?
I think he's already given it you.
Yeah, and I looked over it and I could read it now, couldn't I? Without any mass headaches or anything.
Oh yeah, you haven't tried to read it yet.
Oh, okay. That's what
he basically took it and put it. He gave it to you though.
I gave it to you
because then you did research afterwards.
Let's get back to everybody before we try and figure it out more.
Yeah, and I think Eleni would I think she'd just got back to the temple, hadn't she, when we finished. Okay. So if it's not officially meal time, Eleni would probably want to go talk first.
Okay, yeah. You would be able to make your way through. Again, most of the priests now know to just sort of not ignore your presence, but like unless you speak to them, they don't approach you with the normal way they would a civilian just entering the temple. And you are able to just sort of make your way back through to the rooms and into your bedroom. You would see Ichi that there's been a room cleared, but it's like midway through having the magical circle stuff done. And it'll be done by tonight, but probably not with everything going on, not before then.
Sure thing.
And you would be able to get into the room and into the relative security of a magic circled room.
I'll go over and stroke Woofus.
Woofus.
Does Woofus have sausage breath?
I was. Can I?
Give me a perception.
Perception. 21.
There is a greasy smell in it. There's almost like you actually pick up in like just the tufts of the beard around the mouth of the dog, just like a slight shine, so maybe an oil or something like
Been having some sausages with us.
that.
And I kind of just look over to Ichi. And I'll telepathy going, you remembered the rule, right?
At which point, Ichi's like in the process of like jotting things down, like just in their notebook. You say that, and the pen just stops. I think so.
My passive insight's 16.
As Ichi says, I think so, a very big bead of sweat just runs down their cheek. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, 2 for you, 1 for him. Oh, how many did I give him? Oh, I owe Volu a lot of sausages.
I'll give Woofus a pat on the head, going, good boy. And then I'll walk and sit on my bed and just give Ichi the death stare.
Honestly, the vision of like Volu the mafia don, it's like you've come to me on this special day without sausages. I like it. But yes,
Brilliant. Eleni would sort of walk in and climb onto one of the bunks, sort of cross her legs, and say, "Well, I've got some interesting news. I popped in to see Dana and Alara on the way home. They all send their love, by the way. They were really happy to see me. Alara said that there'd been some people asking about us, and she said they seemed a little bit off. Something about the way they dressed or the way they behaved. But yeah, she thought it was odd enough to talk to me about it. And apparently they were asking her sort of like when we'd be back. I've basically asked her to let us know if they come back. But then, as I was coming back to the temple, I was being followed. I don't think it was one of the guys from last time, but it was really weird. It was like, guy with a hood stayed 40 feet or so behind me. And then I did that, that trick I do where I go invisible. He pulled something out of his pocket, and it was like whatever he was looking at was telling him whereabouts I was.
Oh.
I know he couldn't see me. I sort of stepped to the side a little bit and moved. I know that he couldn't actually see me and I was invisible. But it was like he knew that I was in that general direction. I couldn't see what it was that he had. And then when he realized that maybe I'd done something, he put it back in his pocket and just went. So I did follow. I followed him down into the forge ward, and he met up with another guy, and they did this weird sort of like going round the block in circles and like as if they were trying to either distract people or make sure they weren't being followed. And they went into, this is what happens when I take all these notes. They went into like a really old bashed up door. Yeah, one went in, the other went round and round in circles. And to be honest, me being on my own and not knowing where you guys were, I just decided to come back. But yeah, just really odd. All wearing similar gear, definitely following me, and could be the same guys that Alara talked about, could be something else. I don't know.
Almost instinctively, Dante actually goes to reach over his shoulder before realizing he doesn't actually have anything there.
Yeah, Alara would have actually shoved the thing back under the bed before she climbed onto it. Should have taken the box off her shoulder.
Hello?
Eleni, sorry.
So Eleni, yeah, taken it off and put it underneath.
That would.
But you don't know if it was you, like if it was those
I don't know if
people.
it was me or the box that the sword was in, or even if they knew who I was, but it was just really, really odd. You know, that weird thing where someone's following you and then when you stop, they stop, and then they pretend to look in a shop window and, you know, that kind of thing. But it was really, really weird. When I went invisible, first of all, I sort of used my armor to go invisible properly. And when they realized they couldn't see me anymore, that's when they got this thing out of their pocket and did a whole, like, literally like looking in my direction, but not straight at me. So it was definitely they couldn't see me, but it's like they knew that whereabouts I was. I think the sooner we get these anti-detection things, the better. But yeah, I don't know if it was me or the sword or the box or something else that I was carrying.
Wasn't it in the Forge Ward where we encountered the woven?
Yeah.
That was in a person's house, though. That was like, you got the impression that was something that had been sold to somebody as opposed to like a base. But yes, it was in the Forge Ward. However, the Forge Ward is the largest district of the city and is also the most densely packed district of the city. So there's quite a lot in the Forge Ward.
I know which building it was. I can easily take us back there, but like I said, it was a bit odd. One guy went into a building, the other one seemed to circle around the outside as if they would keep him watch or yeah. And he also like gestured as if there was somebody higher up than him watching. Like he did a gesture but almost was talking upwards, but there was no one there that I could see. And I followed them on the roofs, but they weren't pointing to me in my direction. So maybe someone else was invisible, or I don't know.
He might have been doing a message spell and pointing to.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, so just to add to everything else that's going on, there are some weird blokes asking about us. But maybe they'll go back to Alara and she'll let us know.
Did they look like they were dressed in the same gear, like a uniform of a type?
I think they said they were similar, weren't they, Liam? Yeah. But all human, I think, as well. Yeah.
The two you saw, yeah.
Could be something to keep an eye on, because we don't know. We don't want attention on that or attention on yourself if it is from people we do not wish.
Yeah. So that was my fun. How did you all get on?
I got hypnotized by a book. But I learned a really lovely jingle.
Okay.
So, to make the short story long, we went to the library, and we sort of both found one book each relatively quickly. I found the book. What was it called? I did write it down. I found the book on. Where did I write it? It was called something Astera
I
something,
think I
wasn't it?
pasted it in a chat
No, it
somewhere
was
as well,
the
guys.
Astera, a veined,
the veins of one second, you did
veins of
post
it.
it in the chat.
the veins of Astera or something like that. It was called.
That sounds.
A story of yeah,
The story of Livingstone.
that's the one.
That's it.
Yeah. So I found the book about the vein of Astera, and it is kind of what it was saying in the title. It was this researcher who was looking into the potential of almost a, it's tricky to say, but almost like a consciousness within the rock, and that it could be harnessed. And then there were pictures of that of the golem that we saw. So maybe it's something that he was talking about was indicating that you could use the stone to potentially harness the energy, the life essence in it, and create something. Like I said, that it's called A Story of Living Stone. Maybe it's how to make a golem.
That's interesting. Some more of those golems to fight the infection would be useful.
And then I was reading the other book that meant, and I don't really know what happened. I started reading it, and it was about how, in particular, it's quite common in the Fey world, that how people are bound to contracts without them knowing. And like, for example, completing a dance could actually be a form of contract, and the partner may not know anything about. Lots of bands.
Sorry, and to be clear, it's not like it is still frowned upon by Fae in general.
I was
Like it's
about
not.
to
Sorry,
say
my apologies.
It's predominantly frowned upon, even in the Fey world. But it was a lot. Some of them, I think, were potentially banned. And then, as I was turning the page, I had a lovely bunch of coconuts. Diddly-dee.
Okay. Were those words in
Yeah.
the book?
No, they weren't. But for some reason, he just kept saying it, talking about them standing in a row.
Yeah, Dante goes to look over the sheet again now.
Okay.
Are you sure, Dante?
He's already done it.
If you open the sheet, nothing happens.
Oh, wonderful.
So you haven't seen any other side effects since then? You don't think it did anything to you?
Nothing. It was when the book itself, I started to zone out, and it wasn't until Volu bashed the book away from me that I was able to snap out of it.
But it was when the book was open. I reopened the book and he started chirping away again. I had to quickly scry all that down and then close the book just to stop that song.
So he sang again when you opened the book, even though he wasn't looking at it anymore? Is that not a little bit worrying?
We knew that these books were harnessed some types of spell, otherwise they wouldn't be in the banned and restricted section.
That is true.
So
is
it
there
was hard.
anything in these pages that we think we wouldn't want to give to this person?
So, Chris, I'm just about to send you what you get, because it seems weird for me to read it for you to repeat to people, but grab the bit, that is everything in Facebook, everything that is on the on that page. I can also paste the other page if
so this page, it's, well, I could summarize it, but I might forget a thing, so I'm just going to read it out.
Move.
No,
All right, Quarrick.
the hollow choir. The hollow choir was not always silent. Once there were voices entwined, a harmony so perfect it was said to rival the dawn chorus of the Fey Queens. Their music did not merely entertain, it commanded, it bound, it shaped reality in ways mortal tongues could never achieve. For theirs was a language older than time, and one that did not rely on words, but on meaning itself. The choir's final composition, the Song of the Hallowing, was never completed. The last known verse was carried on the wind one fateful night. The last known verse was carried on the wind one fateful night and vanished into the mists of the Feywild. Whether it was stolen, erased, or deliberately concealed remains unknown. What is certain, however, is that the consequences of the loss were catastrophic. The choir fell into dissonance, their voices turned to whispers, then silence. And yet, remnants of the power endure. I'm so glad you gave me such a lengthy piece of text to
Okay.
read.
Give the dyslexic person
I didn't
poetic.
want him to have to.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna read it and then paraphrase it.
That would take me twice as long.
Fair.
I would have to read it at this speed
I
and
can,
then do
I
it.
can just read the next one if you want, but
Can you tell me
Well,
what
No,
the,
no,
it's
the
done
song
now.
of? Can you tell me what the song of Hyoid? Hyoid? How's that spelled?
Hallowing.
Hallowing.
Oh, okay.
Hollowing.
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 I thought it
Right.
was Halloween, so hollowing. Studies conducted on the partial verses recovered from ancient bardic records suggest that the hollow choir's melodies were not simple songs, but forms of absolute magical control. One surviving fragment describes an instance where the singer forced an archfey into submission, compelling them to bow before a mortal audience. Another hints at the entire court of spirits being woven into an eternal waltz, trapped in emotion without rest. Fragments of the hollowing can still be found in the echoes of deep places, carried in the voices of the wind, that does not belong in the shudder of strings untouched. Those who listen too closely report hearing verses in their dreams, haunting, incomplete, beckoning. But be aware, for the choir's song was not only beauty, it was binding force, an argument spoken in the tongue of a word itself. To sing it anew without understanding is to invite calamity. Some theorists believe the lost verse may yet be recovered, hidden within the cadence of an ancient Fey oaths, or buried within the harmonics of long-forgotten places. If such fragments were to be found, it must be handled with care. The hollow choir did not simply fall, they were undone, and whatever force shattered their song may still be listening. End scene. So, if I was to take a guess, young man wants to try to harness this spell, try to find the missing part, potentially use what we also got in the other book that could tell you memories of a place and tell you things, which was about the living stone.
Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention that in that it was saying that this not only that the stone has a consciousness, that it has a living memory. So if harnessed, you could potentially learn secrets of the past.
And what I'll do, just for everybody to read in their own time, I'll put them into the main chat as you pass the note around, and everybody can
Oh yeah, yeah. He passed that note around to everyone.
I'm gonna put both of them. It was a good reading.
It
Enjoyed
was.
Well,
So the first one was the Veins of Earth, and the second one is the Hollow Choir.
now I know what we're all thinking. Do we want to hand over these things?
Oh, yeah.
Neither of these pages actually show how something is done. If he is aware of the situation anyways, then he clearly has his own research on the thing. If we don't give it to him, he might just get it elsewhere. Whereas we do need these amulets and a protection of the sword. So I would say go with the chance.
It's interesting. Like, it is a lot of crucial information and such, and who knows what he will do with it. But like you say, it feels like this is all information, one way or another, he would be able to get his hands on.
I'd say as well. I'd say for especially Ichi and Dante that do investigating and stuff like Dante's fairly high in, but Ichi, you like part of your order is investigating these things. A lot of this for you seems like just confirming.
Yeah.
It's the fact that these researchers are talking about having been witness to experiments and things like that. That
Yeah.
if you were like, oh, I want to find a song that will tell me this thing, or I believe the earth can speak. If you were having that thought and needed it confirming for yourself,
Yeah.
these pages definitely do that. Because while they don't give any information, they do, from the writer's perspective at
Yeah.
least, very much support the ideas.
Dante will look over to Ichi and go, Ichi, have you been outside to see if there's any sick patients?
I asked for them to set up a magic circle for us to see what happens when we give you the sword again in a controlled environment, so that we have obviously the chapel around us and such, to see what effects you can bring through that. Also a good way of figuring out what's going on in regards to you and the sword if we desperately need you to be wielding it. There's been a lot of new patients coming in from all over the place. I did actually venture out and go speak to the guard captain. It's a little bit of chaos at the moment. They're setting up almost like checkpoint blockades between each of the sections at the moment, trying to not necessarily put the entire city into quarantine, but more to just have an idea of what's going on where and try and contain as much as they can. We've been given some clearance. Volkov gave me and I'll like produce it. Gave me this note in terms of like if we want to do any further investigation about the temple or the mines, any of those kind of things. We just need to show this, and we should be allowed past. Obviously, if we do anything overstepping that jurisdiction, then we can still be arrested and such. In terms of the golem and the infection, I know this wasn't the question, but just while it's there in terms of like the infection, the golem still seems to be fine. Apparently it still seems to be on cleanup at the moment, which is quite good. It'll be interesting to see what the golem's response is to, and I'm not saying we test this with people here, but the golem's response to individuals who have been infected, whether or not it would take on more of a caretaker stance or an extermination stance, might help us get in the mindset of who created the temples and such. Obviously, I'm not saying we're taking someone down there. I'm just speaking hypothetically right now. it does feel like this entire thing is building quickly.
But then
Maybe-
we need to move quickly and leave the city then.
Ichi, can you take me down to see some of these people, if that's okay?
Certainly,
I would like to see how many we're talking. We can be back quickly. I just don't.
I mean, to be fair, in terms of you walked past a bunch of them on the way in.
Still set it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Certainly, we can go have a more dedicated look at the infirmary and such that they're
Cool.
bringing them into.
That's good. Dante will kind of stand up and just kind of go to walk out.
Ichi will go open the door, allow Dante to leave, and we'll follow behind.
Okay, you head out into the
Bless you.
corridor.
Thank you.
So it's now just me and Ichi, right?
Mm-hmm. That was as far as you can tell.
So as we're walking down the corridor a little bit, I was just like, Ichi, I need a hand. And he's going to pull out the hollow choir sheet. I need to be able to just hand change some of these words, perhaps change meaning, make them sound to be different.
Oh, as in just mildly change intention, or like
Change intention, change. Like, I don't want to make it too like obvious that it's suddenly a cupcake recipe, but I
right.
just need a bit of help changing it. But
Oh, okay. Sure
what I
thing.
need what I need from you is to not tell. I mean, if you have to tell Aelin, you can, but do not tell Volu.
Oh, why not Volu?
Because I have an idea. Volu, out of all of us, is the most wholesome, innocent one.
Yes, unless you get on his bad side in regards to his sausage program.
Well, you should know it's one for him, two for you. Like,
one for him, two for me. So that means one for the dog, two for Volu, four for me.
no, that's not what I meant with the dog.
Ah,
But what I'm doing is I don't want to be there for the buy.
the handle.
I want Volu to do it, because then he has no recollection or knowledge that anything has changed. He's done it exactly how he's meant to.
I understand what you're trying to do. My only anxiety is Volu is now a very close friend of ours. And especially with recent conversations, I'm not sure how I feel about being an active participant in stopping Volu in knowing what's going on. Bearing in mind everything we just heard from what happened in the Fae.
That is true. You think Aelin would be okay with it? Do you think Aelin would be okay with doing it?
Probably. I mean, Aeleni's done these kind of things. Well, not these kind of things, but you know.
As in with her not knowing. But the reason I ask, we know spellcasters like yourself can do various things in a deal to make sure that people are being honest and things aren't tampered with. Now, one of these I've already tampered with. Volu does not know.
Okay.
So that is why, and now you know, which means that you cannot be part of it either. So I was going to stay back, maybe in the temple, do some healing, do something good, and then you guys go do the meat.
What is it? Why do you want this to be different? Is it because you're worried about intention?
Yes. When you look at something with the fact that someone can harness the power of memories in a place of living stone, and then if it was to create and bind people to a contract that they did not have any idea of, or was not willing or accepting participant, then we need to make sure that if this is to be attempted, it would fail. Now, neither of these sheets give enough information to how to do it. But if we
So
can,
just want to throw them off even further.
yes. And I'm literally talking a few words here or there. That is all. I mean, I am going to do them, but I would just like some support in why I'm not there at the time of the meet.
I feel like I would be more comfortable allowing a Lenny to pass this on with the understanding that once everything's done, we do inform them.
Yes, that's absolutely fine.
Of course.
That's fine. I have no. I do not want to keep them from them. It is more to make sure the deal
goes through. Of course,
yes, because we need that.
In that one moment, I don't want to lie to Volu, especially right now.
No, that is fine. Then I will be the one I will come clean with everyone once it's done. You were the muscle last time. You didn't come into the meeting, so you can just be the muscle again.
Yeah.
Volu and Eleni can do the drop. And they buy. I'm very happy with that.
Of course.
Is this an okay plan?
I think so. My only worry outside is that would they not find it suspicious that you're not there, bearing in mind you're the one that they struck the deal with?
It is. But this is why we say I'm going to be healing. I'm going to be doing the stuff, and we can make a big thing over the fact that say, yes, I've healed many people, they're all coming out. And we can heal the people who are least infected.
Then let's not make a big show of it. Let's actually do it.
Yes.
Think you can handle that, Dante?
I can burn it.
All right, maybe don't say the word burn with such a smile on your face, please. Right. Let's get going.
I could say I'm going to cook some fools.
Not we need to figure out a more positive way of figuring this out.
Well, so now I'm going to pull out and I'm going to look over this bit of paper. I'm hoping with Ichi's help, we can look over and do a bit of, forging, same way as we did before. I'm hoping I get aid now because he might go, oh yeah, if you change this letter.
I'm gonna be helping alter the words so that rather than it being about, doing things, like in the process of you do this, I'm going to be phrasing them in ways of as if they had been done, but slightly differently, rather than it being like, oh, you read this. I'm going to phrase it more in this was read, and then change something different about it. So it's less of a, this is what you do, and more like it's a recollection of someone jotting it down how it was done. So
similar kind of stuff as what we did before.
Yeah, so that if it was questioned, it could easily just be discerned to, oh, well, they did it wrong and just wrote it down.
It's just more, that's kind of more it. It's just saying the word's been changed, slightly altered.
Yeah.
To make it for a different meaning. Swap some words around because the guy was dyslexic.
Yeah, rather than it, if it was in Elvish, rather than it saying something like Kelith, it says Keleth kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So
vowels,
what do I roll?
Things.
It's straight intelligence.
Straight intelligence. Why did I think it was Dex?
No, it was intelligence.
With advantage because I'm aiding?
Yeah.
So either or, I'm I can do. 19.
Okay. You go through, you change a few bits and bobs.
One of those was a 6 I rolled, so I'm very glad for it.
Happy for the advantage. And as you're doing that, I'll flick over to the other side of the room. What do you go to the others as Ichi and Dante leave and you hear the footsteps sort of heading down the corridor away?
I believe that sending message I sent in Roll20 was, I didn't do it last week, but I put it in there to remember what we were going to say this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll cast that to the fella now.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the pages copied. How are the rings coming along? When will they be complete?
There's a pause. Delightful. You do work fast. Rings shouldn't be too long. Maybe not all rings. Sword might be problem.
Okay.
What's up?
This guy just feels weird. I know we're doing a bit of a shady deal anyway, because we kind of need to. But something just feels a bit off. And he said they're having issues with the sword, which is another thing that we have to worry about. I know you're probably fed up of lugging that around on your back all the time.
I mean, it's not that heavy. It's just a bit bulky, really. It's a bit difficult to get it through doors and things.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he's going to try and weasel out of the deal, or is it not that? Is he just generally dodgy?
I think he respects the art of the deal. He doesn't give me that vibe. But maybe... Maybe he's just not letting on fully what his intentions are.
I mean, I have to say this. I know Dante's right. I mean, these books wouldn't be locked in a restricted section for no reason, but the fact that it made him sing silly songs and zone out, even when he wasn't holding the book still.
And to be clear as well, I'm going to remind you, Chris is saying silly words. The words
I heard a whisper.
Another language that aren't it sounds like it's chanting.
Yeah. But
I love the
I think doing it while you've got hold of the book, that's one thing. Then doing it again when someone else opens the book, that was what worried me.
Me too. It feels like that's something that's now set in stone.
And then we're going to give this stuff
when I opened it, I did hear a faint whisper, but I don't know if that's because I have more of a Fae connection. That's all I heard.
I mean, the book's about Fae, isn't it? It's about this choir that were in the Fae, so maybe you had some kind of protection against it. Really odd.
Or maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we do need this protection. If somebody is trying to track us down, we don't know who they are or what for. But I do also feel like we could have probably, maybe we could have tried to get some money together and actually bought some of this stuff above board.
It's true. I think the problem is time. And especially with them potentially not having a solution for Dante's sword, it's another thing we have to worry about. I mean, you saw how those portals opened. We were in the middle of a sorcerer's or warlock's house, which no doubt, well, you saw the things around the house, and they were able to just port their way in like that.
I mean, do we think that having the sword in the lead box gives it some kind of protection? We think that stops people from.
You know factually that lead, there is no magic that sees through lead. Even stood at this range with detect magic on it, just looks like a black box.
I mean, I suppose that doesn't at the moment. They could scry on us, couldn't they? They could. They don't necessarily see the sword, but they could watch us and they'd see we're carrying this huge box around with us. Yeah, I don't really know what the answer is, and in a way, I almost feel now like getting out of the city might be a really good thing. There are too many
Yeah,
people
just
here that might be innocent bystanders or might be someone dodgy. If we're walking through a forest and we come across people following us, we know for a fact, you know, what we can do about that. I don't know.
this is true. This is very true. And we've got a reason to go. I was like, it might cool things off. People forget about the chaotic embers a little bit.
Did I hear that the guy we're dealing with had got in trouble before for doing things like this?
I don't think
Was I not
Don
there?
told you.
Okay,
No.
forget that then. Wind that back.
That's fine.
I mean, you guys saw him helping Moonshadow, so he's one to take risks, but I don't know anything about trouble.
I'm wondering what would happen if he was found with these copies of pages of books that he shouldn't have.
Crossed my mind that as well.
And if he was found after we'd happened to leave the city,
Are you
so that it
suggesting
couldn't,
he mark the papers in some way and
or we just,
then
I
go and
don't know,
inform somebody?
anonymously inform on him? I mean, that isn't that what Dante did with Moonshadow Jr.? Just leave a note for his dad telling him this guy's trying to do dodgy deals in a pub somewhere, or I don't know.
I get it could work, but at the same time, it's not like it's Moonshadow. That got attention because it was Alar Moonshadow's son, and we told somebody who knew Alar Moonshadow.
But there
This
must be
is
rules in the
essentially,
university to stop people from doing this kind of deal. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it in such a dodgy way. He'd be out in the open with it.
yes, and I get that, but I'm more saying that had person of interest, and why this is, oh, we've got a kid who's doing dodgy dealings on the courtyard. I mean, they're probably a dime a dozen.
But it's not just dodgy dealings. It's that he's possessing restricted knowledge. It's not to do with him doing the dodgy dealings. It's the fact that somebody's seen him with these papers and it looked really strange, and I don't know. It's a thought. It might just slow him down from doing anything with the information.
Would he not think that was us, though, even if it was anonymous?
Maybe, but if we've left the city by then,
I
we
suppose I could do it. I suppose I could send a message a few days later.
we could leave a letter with Dana to deliver to post after we've left. I mean, there's loads of things we could do.
Might be something worth thinking about once we've. But yeah.
I don't know.
How do you think they were tracking you?
I'll be honest, at first, when they were following me, I thought that it was the people that Alara had been talking about, and that maybe they'd been watching Dana and Alara's shops and seen me and then followed. because that would have made sense to me. It was only when they got, like, it looked like a little stone or something. It was big enough that he could hide it in his hand. So it wasn't like a really big thing. But yeah, it was almost like it gave him a general direction rather than it giving him any kind of power to see through the invisibility. It's like some kind of a pointer, so he sort of knew what direction I was in. And then I tried to follow him. He definitely knew I was there. Eventually, I went up on the roofs and tracked them from a bit of a distance, but
Is that something I've heard of before?
I mean, tons of stuff. You've even seen like Tanabori and some of the other more powerful Fae do it on a whim, like to the level of like get a bowl, put some water in it, drop a leaf in it, cast a spell that now points at the nearest whatever you are looking for, right? Like there
Locate
is
object.
locate object is only a level 2 spell, so
I
it's
believe you've seen Ichi cast it.
fairly accessible, right? So, and
but
Volu,
doesn't
that
that
like
just give you
that
a
could be,
direction but not a distance? I don't know
Yeah.
now.
but
Yeah, it
exactly.
does.
Imagine you did that enchanted a compass to
Mm.
have, you know what I mean? So you enchant a compass to always be pointing at blah, and then that is now just a pointer. It doesn't tell you exactly where or how far, but it now just points constantly in the direction they're in. For example, that is one example Volu would be able to think of.
I mean, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly blending in with most of the people in this city, right? There aren't that many furbolgs.
You do
So-
kind of tower in a crowd.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, I was really tempted to try and get into that house, but I just thought I don't have a way of contacting you guys. I mean, I've got my raven that I can send to people, but at that point, I didn't even know if there was anyone still at the temple. So I decided it was just safer to come away. And no one followed me as far as I could tell when I came back.
We should find a way of being better in contact. We have this problem a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's only you that can do sending, isn't there?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's not like I can do it a lot.
So you're right. We probably do need to find a way of communicating better.
Especially if we have to head into the Fae for Dante. Once you're in there, it's very easy to get lost.
Why for me again? Oh, for the dunking. I thought the dunking was being done in this.
Like Griff, isn't it?
Wasn't it like a threshold?
They said that Lake Sith was a weak point.
I thought it was at Lake Sif, so we're going to Lake Sif to go into the Fae.
Well, they never specified, but he said we can set it up. Is what they said.
Okay.
Which means like they're either coming into the Fae or they're gonna take us into the Fae. So.
Okay. Eleni's going to get on the floor and start playing with the dog. And doing a whole like sort of like a wrestling thing, you know, where you like push them over and then push them back and like let them jump on you, and it's like a proper full on wrestle.
Okay.
With this dog on the floor while we're waiting for the other guys. And it's going to be like, are you hungry? As nobody fed you all day. I bet you're so neglected. Look, you're wasting away.
Okay. For the other two outside, would you actually then go and do some healing, or would you return after editing the notes?
I mean, I'm very happy to do some healing because I haven't done it. I haven't spent anything like power wise today, so I can go around and actually start healing people with things.
While Dante's doing that, Ichi's gonna head off to the kitchen, put down like 3 gold, and be like, "I need 40 sausages immediately."
Like a guy.
I have a debt to pay.
I'll have to run out and get some, but sure.
Thank you. You are literally saving my life.
And for Dante, you obviously need to let priest know so that they can come and heal as you burn. But you would be able to you actually manage to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Saving throw. That's not good. 8.
Okay, so you actually like obviously yesterday you sort of burned yourself out to the point of exhaustion, and today you only are able to clear about half of the first room, as almost noticing, Dante, if you imagine that before you were pulling on someone else's power. So when you went absolutely ape shit with all of Tenebris's power, it was him that got tired. It's his pool of energy that was burned. You're now burning from yours. And it is more like a muscle, as today you are kind of sore. And to be clear, there's no mechanical combat or any sort of effects there. It is just the using it over a few hours to clear, and a good 20-30 people are cleared of infection, but we are talking, Dante, and as you're moving around, you would see a lot deeper into the situation. We're talking there was maybe 60 people that were sort of either being processed in a bed or in the magical protected room, and you managed to clear a good half, 30 of the. I'm out of focus, and it's not going to go back as the still the night.
Not when you do that, no.
That usually gives makes it
Wow.
redo, but it doesn't. It'll come back in at some point.
You've never looked prettier, by the way.
You do manage to clear about half of the people that are there at the minute, before feeling sort of the need to head back upstairs. Ichi, do you wait for the sausages, or are you going to head back up, or are you going to help with healing?
Once I put the order in, I'll go and help with healing.
Okay.
I'm gonna speak to whoever and just be like, I'll be spending some time here most days.
Okay. They also, you would notice, as people are leaving, a few of them are. You can tell that they're maybe more city official or in like an official capacity, and you, Dante and Ichi, you would hear some of the priests at the door are sort of asking like, basically, would anybody be willing to like stay and be watched for a few days to see whether the infection is cleared for good or whether it's a temporary thing. Some are saying no, some are saying yes, and you can see that they're using the home like not the actual home tree inn, but a building near the home tree inn, and guards sort of escorting them over and basically kind of quarantining, but just watching the people who have previously been cured. As mentioned, you're not sure whether they can be infected again. And eventually you guys would be able to head on up. Before you head up, Ichi, a plate of 40 sausages is probably 3 plates of 40 sausages.
Ichi will use their like.
A plate can hold more than 10 sausages.
Depends how big the sausages are.
Depends how big the plate is. Depends how big the sausages are.
Yeah. Ichi will use what's it called? Will use their entangling growth to like kind of like bring their hand into a platter that holds all 3 of the plates, and we'll go up to the door and go
Hang on, just as we're walking with all this, Dante's just behind and he's just telekinetically sending him a sausage backwards to him. Sweet.
I sneak in
Just,
from the
just,
front.
just at the back and just gotta go flick it.
I have a passive perception of 16. Do I see this?
Oh, you
You've
know,
got a lot of things to balance.
I still think
you're worried for your life.
There is no way to do a telekinetic thing subtly. So I feel like for Ichi there would be a glance of, well, there's no roll for it as such, but I think at a glance, Ichi, it's more that you think one's rolling off before it floats towards.
You're nice.
It's been nice knowing you, Dante.
Bolu, can you give me a perception check, please?
Oh, I get to re-roll because that was that one.
Some of these have apple in them. Nice.
11.
The smell of freshly cooked sausages, it just emanates from somewhere. You don't know where the fuck the smell's coming from, but it's almost like you stood in the middle of a kitchen. And as you sort of poke your head up, and because you beat them on the perception check, about 10 seconds after you, the dog's head up.
I love that you responded before the dog. That's great.
And both now sort of like looking towards the door.
Bollock can smell a sausage at 10 paces.
Room service?
I'll go open the door. I'll instantly look at the plate and go, that's an odd amount of sausages.
So Eleni gets to react first because you're the one playing with the dog.
Yeah.
The dog sets off very much like it did the other day when Ichi said sick. And if you want to reaction attack of opportunity, essentially, to try and grapple the dog as it tries to go between. If you imagine you're like down on all fours, like play, but you're to the dog, you're still quite large, even down on all fours.
Yeah.
It's trying to go through, like underneath your
I
legs.
will try and grab it, like the ruff at the back of his neck.
Give me an athletics, please.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Like when someone leaves the door open and the dog just bolts as I know.
And honestly, the dice are not playing today. That was a nat 20.
Was a 10 for me.
No.
So a nat 20 for a total of 21.
Mm-hmm.
As the dog just underneath, you literally like there's a clatter.
Can I do telekinesis? Like hold the tray up.
I'll allow you to hold one tray up because it is 3.
It's a major, so I can only do.
You like so one tray. You hear the clatter. Volu, you're the next to be able to attempt any stopping of the dog as it is ploughing. Doesn't even seem to be looking at you. Tongue wagging. It wants that plate.
This is all Ichi's fault. You've got the dog addicted
1 second.
Hey, no, that was that one. That was
No. I taught him very well. Someone broke my teaching.
Hey, no. Someone was about to come and do the second part of the teaching of give you a plate of 40 sausages.
Oh, where is it?
Well, look what you're doing about this dog bearing down on you.
You're about to lose your sausages.
You're about to get squished.
It's coming in quick.
I'm about to be mugged by my own
dog. I've got 2 things, but I'm trying to remember if I've got the other one or if I didn't prepare it today.
Speak with animals?
No. I've not got it prepped, so I'm not going to do it. I was going to command it and tell it to stop, but I am going to cast Gust at the dog and push him away from the door, away from Ichi.
So a strength save from the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, from such heights to such lows, and that one.
Oh.
You don't mess with my sausages.
there's no damage, but I feel like, so do you know where on the edge of the bed where the blanket hangs over, like the dog's like pushed into the blanket in a way that it sort of bundles all over and under the bed, and you can hear it sort of like rolling around and trying to untangle itself from under the bed as the sausages are safe.
Do you think we need a lead for this dog? Maybe a collar?
Ichi like holds the plate like higher up as all of that chaos kind of like happens, and then goes, right. As per your teaching, 1 for the dog, 2 for you. So here's 40 sausages for you there, Volu. You're the one who has to sit there now, and
there's only like 2 plates of sausages there. As the plate as the tray came back down.
40 sausages.
Can I cast my mage hand to steal the plate from from
I think so.
the other mage hand?
I'm not keeping. I'm just putting it up in the air. Just
No,
so
I
it's,
know.
Yeah, it's literally just floating. It's just floating above it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'd say you would be able to mage hand the other one, the plate off, and I think you would all be able to enter into the bedroom.
Initiative.
I was so ready for you to be like, like enter into initiative. I was like, is the dog about to fight?
No. However, if so, you'll be able to you'll be able to bring the sausages in, and as your group sort of joins together, you can check. To be fair, I don't know if you wanted to long. I assume you're not setting off tonight. As it's sort of coming to about 4, 5 at this point.
We've got nothing.
It's not quite late enough.
I'll relay the message saying that the rings aren't ready yet. They're not
We
all
can't
going to
really
be
leave
rings.
till we've got those.
They're gonna be a mix of items, and that potentially there's an issue with the sword, but the guy said he'll let us know.
What's the issue with the sword?
It's a bit tricky.
As he asked that is where we will pause part 1 of this week's session. Thank you very much for joining. As always, thank you very much for playing. If you're enjoying the adventure so far and want to find out what becomes of Volu and his sausages next, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, roll well. Bye.
This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.